see the kids going out, I was going to remind you, kids can be dismissed to their classes at this time. This evening we've got Jeff Morgan, who's the men's basketball coach at Harding University. That's the team, if you watch the games online like I do, that's the team that plays right after Ariel's finished. Not as important sometimes to us, but Ariel's more important. But Jeff's mom and dad, Gerald and Emmylou Morgan, are longtime members here. Jeff's dad served as an elder here for many years. And then they moved away when you were in 9th grade and took you away from us. And that was a sad situation. But now you're back. It's been 2 years since he's spoken to us at our first Wednesday night lectureship. And let's see what's happened after that. You hauled off and made 2 NCAA regional appearances since that time. So I don't know if those two things are connected, but we wanted to have you back and try to keep that going. But it's good to have Jeff back. Come speak to us, Jeff.
Thank you for the opportunity to be back. Sorry, I get a little emotional, but it is a tremendous honor to be back here and to be able to share with you tonight in a place where I remember sitting right over here. Good to see that some things haven't changed. The youth group and kids still sitting right over here, and just a lot of great memories, a lot of great fun. I was mad at my parents for the rest of my life, I think, for moving away from Harrison, Arkansas in the 9th grade, because we went to a place where all they knew how to do was snap a football. Went to Corning, Arkansas, and I was, I think, the only kid in school that didn't play football, and so I spent all my time in the gym wondering and trying to figure out a way to get back here, because the class that I was in was the 1984 state champions, and I saw Miss Lowe here earlier, and if she's still, yeah, she's right there. You recognize names like Mike Lowe, Doug Dennis, Darren Staller, Sam Richardson, Paul Ledbetter, Billy Stair, names like that I was in class with and in school with, and we played basketball every day at recess. I ended up at Skyline Heights and went from an elementary school that didn't have a basketball court to one that had about 4. And I thought I was in heaven, and it was great, and we played every day. And that shaped a lot of my growing up. And loved being here and being part of this. I know Mom and Dad loved being here and loved being a part of this congregation. A couple years ago, I was here and we talked about the role of sports and parenting a little bit. I hope in the last 2 years nobody's been kicked out of little league games or asked to leave little league games or those kind of things. I've managed to not get kicked out of any of our games. So hopefully something I said stuck with me. I don't know about you, but we talked a little bit about that role in sports. And this year I just wanted to share a little bit with you about our year this year, because it was a very, very unique year. And I wanted to try my best to give you a glimpse of what it was like in our locker room and some of the things that we talk about as a team. And some of the things that we really emphasize with our guys from the start of the year, and we try to apply it to every aspect of our lives. So to tell you a little bit about our year, last year the year before we did win the conference championship regular season, went on the NCAA tournament, won an NCAA tournament game for the first time and advanced to the semifinals. We lost 4 great seniors off that team. And so we had a really good nucleus coming back, 2 seniors and a lot of freshmen and sophomores. We had the freshman of the year coming back. We had a 6'9" kid that probably could have been freshman of the year coming back. So we felt good about our team and really liked our kids and really liked our chemistry. We had great chemistry, and we were really excited about the year. We had an unbelievably tough schedule. There's 3 things in coaching. There's recruiting, and there's scheduling. And so you try to do the best you can in recruiting, and you try to do the best you can in scheduling so that you look like a good coach. And so we scheduled, but I don't know who did it, but I fired him. And from ever doing the schedule again, that usually falls in my lap. But we played about 3 teams who are top 25 teams in the country. Every non-conference game we had was against a team who was in the NCAA tournament with us the previous year. And we wanted to play a tough schedule like that to try to prepare us to get back where we wanted to go. And the place where we wanted to get to, in another conference championship and possibly another NCAA tournament berth. And so we played that schedule, and around Christmas time, we're 3-5. We had lost to the number 17 team in the country twice, once on a 40-foot shot at the buzzer, another time at their place by 6. We did beat the number 6 team in the country, played really well, and we played really well in some of those games. And then after Christmas, we really came together as a team. And I don't know what happened. Ariel will remember this road trip. Furthest road trip we have, we take off and we go to Weatherford, Oklahoma, and Alva, Oklahoma. Has anybody in here ever been to Alva, Oklahoma? I'm seeing mainly this. Well, nothing against Oklahoma, but most people in Oklahoma call Alva Alcatraz. And so we were headed to Weatherford, Oklahoma, and then Alva, Oklahoma for 2 games. First of the school year, or school hadn't started back yet. Chorus is out on a trip, so they have the big bus. We're in a couple of vans. And this whole trip started different, but it was fun. I could sense a difference in our guys. I think for the first semester, they were really looking towards those 4 seniors we had last year for all the fun stuff that goes on a team, all the fun stuff in the locker room, all the fun stuff on road trips, for the leadership that those 4 guys gave us. But on this trip, all of a sudden it was different. These guys really started taking ownership on this team. We went and played Southwestern Oklahoma first, who was having a great year. My van, we had to jump start about 10 times on this trip. We left Searcy and headed to Weatherford. We stopped in Oklahoma City to get gas, and from that point on, we jumped that van about 10 times over the next 4 days. Anytime we went somewhere, we had to jump it. We had to make sure the girls weren't far away from us because they had the minibus, and if we needed to, we could hop on with them. But we had to jump this van all the time. That's life at Division II basketball. I don't know if Krzyzewski or Mike Anderson or any of those guys have had to jump start a van. I doubt it. But we're out there jump starting a van in January. Wind's blowing about 30 miles an hour out in western Oklahoma. It's cold, and we're having to just crank it up every time we go somewhere. So it had some little fun stuff to the trip. We played great those 2 games. We came out, Southwestern Oklahoma was one of the top teams in the league. We came out and beat them by like 24. Got off to a great start. Our guys played great, and it was a great start to the road trip. We spent the night. The next day we head to Alva, Oklahoma, where you have the option to eat. You have a Subway and you have a McDonald's. And that's it, and I'm not joking. So we hit McDonald's after practice one night. The next day we hit Subway for our pregame meal. And we played Northwestern Oklahoma State and beat them on their home floor by about 10 points. So we make this trip back. Everybody's feeling great, and you could really sense that we are about to take off as a team. You could really sense it. The guys, our chemistry was great. Everything, they played great. You could really sense that we were about to take off as a team, and we still had 16 or so conference games to go, and we're thinking we're fixing to make a run at this. Well, we get back from that trip. That's on a Saturday night. Tuesday night about midnight, I get a phone call. It's from one of our guys, and 4 of them, great kids, some kids that are all 3.0 students or better. They're all, good kids, good families, had been, 0 issues ever before. And one of them calls me and says, "Coach, we made a really bad mistake and we got caught." And the next day they were suspended from school. And that was on a Tuesday night. Well, we started the year with 12 players. So now we're minus 4. And we're down to 8. On January the 6th or 7th, we're down to 8 guys. The Wednesday morning, I walk in the locker room. The 4 guys that were about to have to leave school, and we hadn't even started the second semester yet. 4 guys that are about to leave school wanted to meet with the rest of our team. I said, okay, that's good. That's fair enough. I'd already talked to them. We'd had some great conversations. They went in the locker room, and they just shared their hearts. And by the time I walked in the locker room, there was a lot of weeping going on. there were 12 guys that were weeping. There were 4 that were crying really hard because they know they had let this team down. They had let the decision they made let us as coaches down, let their teammates down. And they really, really, really felt bad about it. There were 8 guys who were going to be left who were crushed because they were hurting for them. They were hurting for the 4 guys that were going to be leaving us. They were hurting for our 2 seniors who had invested a ton in our program the last 4 or 5 years and had been great leaders for us. And they were hurting for them. Of course, while all the weeping's going on inside, I'm outside gnashing teeth. So we had some weeping and gnashing of teeth going on. But I walk in the locker room, and they're all crying, and we're sitting around, and we had some great conversation, and we gathered up and had a prayer, prayed for those guys, and then they left the locker room. I kind of went out with them and talked to them a little bit as they were going. You know, they had to leave campus just in a couple of days. This was on a Wednesday morning, and we're playing at home on Thursday night. So not a lot of time to adjust, not a lot of time to prepare, not a lot of time to get ready for a Thursday night game against Henderson State, who had a really good team, and another home game on Saturday. So I walked back in the locker room, and these guys were still in there, and it's pretty emotional. And I said, guys, here's the deal. We'll talk more about this as we go. But we don't have much time to talk much about it now. They made a mistake. I hate it for them. I think several of them are going to try to come back. But the choice has been made at the first of the year that we're going to have a team. Decision's already been made. We've already played games. We're going to have a team. And just like what we talked about in our first team meeting, this doesn't change anything. This doesn't change where we want to get to and where we want to go as a team. You see the slide behind me, and hopefully I can work this well enough. But at the first of every year, so I'll kind of stop there. At the first of every year, we talk about being on mission. And we spend a lot of time talking about what that means with our team. We don't talk a lot about winning and losing. We don't. We say very little about winning games and losing games. But what we talk about is being on mission and getting a really good definition of what being on mission means. One of my favorite verses that I put on our notebooks every year for our guys is, where there is no vision, the people perish. And so try to get them to start thinking about, what vision do you have for this team? Where do you want to get to as a team? On the floor, off the floor, relationships, goals we have. Where is it we want to get to as a team? So the first part of this definition, this is definition of the word mission that I absolutely love, and we've used it for years with our team. It's an image of a place that you want to get to. So where do we want to get with this team? We talk about that. Our first meeting, we talk about what it means to have an image of a place that you want to get to as a team. What are you picturing? Are you picturing, cutting down nets at the end of the year? Are you picturing whatever it is as a team, hoisting a championship trophy? What picture do you have in your mind as a team? And that's what we start talking about, and that's what we start every year. Let's get a picture. And can you picture it? The thing it'll do for you is, once fully seen, and you have to be able to see it, and this is where I have to call on our imaginations. Can they see themselves up on a ladder cutting down nets? Can they see themselves, diving on the floor every day in practice? Can they see themselves hoisting a trophy at the end of the year? Can they see themselves run around the track at the start of the year and preparing for this? And using that imagination to really vividly see where they want to get to as a team. So we try to picture that, because if you can see it, if you can see this place you want to get to, it'll do 3 things for you. Number 1, it'll inspire you to act. If you can see where you want to get to as a team, as and you can apply this. One of the reasons I love this definition is because you can apply it to any aspect of your life, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But it'll inspire you to act. And I tell them, if you can see where you want to get to as a team, coach won't have to get you to the gym on your own. You'll get to the gym on your own and do the extra stuff outside of what we do in practice. I won't have to stoke the fire too much to motivate you in practice or out at the track or those kind of things, because if you can really see where you want to get to as a team, then it'll inspire you to act, and you'll do what you need to do to try to make it happen. You'll spend the extra time in the gym. You'll spend the extra time in the weight room. You'll prepare yourself over the summer for what's coming in the off season. So it'll inspire you to act if you can get a very clear picture of where you want to get to. The second thing is it'll fuel your motivation. Anybody in here ever wanted to quit anything? Most of us have. I can remember playing many times in my career going, is this really worth it? Coach is killing us. Ariel, those 6-minute miles worth it? 5:45, 5:30 in the morning, flipping tires, running out the football field, running out the track. Coach is killing us. I'll never forget calling my mom as a freshman at York College, 12 hours away from home. And I'll tell this story on my mom because a lot of you in here knew her. I was 12 hours away from home, and I was homesick 2 or 3 weeks into school, and I wanted to be home so bad. Is it too late? I was trying to call Mom. I was trying to call her. That was back before cell phones. She wouldn't answer. Conveniently, I calling my older sister Terry, saying, Terry, can you tell Mom to call me? And this is when, dorm phones, you had a phone hanging up down in the hallway of the dorm that you had to go wait in line to get on. So finally one night in a weak moment, Mom answered the phone. And I'm going on and on about Coach is killing us. I don't know if I want to play anymore. I don't know if this is worth it. I'm 12 hours away from home, blah, blah, blah. I'm going and going and going. She's not saying a word. I kind of hesitate for a minute, and she says, are you finished? I said, yes, ma'am. She goes, good. I don't want to hear another word about it till you get home Christmas. Click. I was like, that was not my mother. That was a wrong number. that was the devil on the other end of that line. But she knew exactly what I needed to hear. Now, if I'd have got in touch with Dad was a big softy. He'd say, well, come on home. We'll get something worked out, or let's talk about it, or whatever. Mom, forget it. We'll talk about it Christmas. Of course, she knew. By the time I got home Christmas, I loved it. Couldn't wait to get back. I was having a great experience. It never even came up again. But there are times I wanted to quit. And if you can see where you want to get to as a team, as a goal that you have in your life, it'll fuel your motivation. Because there'll be times, our guys, I tell you, there's going to be times, guys, where you're going to want to quit. But it'll keep you going. And the last thing it'll do for you, if you can really, really see this image of a place you want to get to, is it'll determine your behavior. Because you won't want to do anything that will be detrimental or that might hurt your opportunity or your chances to get where you want to get to. Now, we had some guys make a choice in behavior that was detrimental to them being a part of something that turned out to be incredibly special. I don't know how many of you kept up with our year, but at that time of playing that game, we were 5-5, and we had Henderson State coming in the next night, and we had 7 guys suited up because one of our 8 was hurt. So I'm sitting there, and nobody really knew what was going on. And we get pretty good crowds at our games, even in January when the students aren't there. We have a lot of people from the community come and those kind of things. And all of a sudden, everybody walks in, and they look down at our team warming up, and they look down at our bench when they all come to sit down, and they're like, you can just hear it all over the place. Where is everybody? Where's the rest of the bench? Antoine not playing tonight. He's hurt. We got 7. we all sit down as coaches, and we got more people in suits than we have suits, than we have uniforms. And it was kind of comical to look at. I mean, I'm sitting there next, and we got 3 players sitting next to me, and we got about 10 empty seats at the end of the bench because the girls had like 20 people on their team. And they would sit people up in the stands almost because they had so many. And next thing you know, we're down there, and we're all on one end, and all these empty seats down here at the end. And everybody's like, oh, my goodness. You know, we lost the freshman of the year from the league. We lost 2 starters. And we lost our first player off the bench. And we lost a really good kid. It was just a great practice player and did a great job for us in that way. And so we go out and play Henderson that night. Henderson's got, 15 guys suited up. We got our 7. And the most incredible thing happened. We won. I think shocked everybody, including us as coaches a little bit. Because a couple of the guys that had played some. One of them was a freshman who had played 10, 12 minutes a game, 15 minutes a game. Another one was a young man from here, Blake McNair, who had played 10, 12 minutes a game, 15 minutes maybe. Next thing you know, those guys are playing 35, 38, 40 minutes. Made subbing easy as a coach. Oh, okay, you go. You get him. Get the next one. I mean, it was easy. There were no choices. It's like, get somebody. We'll learn the positions as we go. We changed a little bit how we played, a little bit, but not a whole lot. We never talked about any excuses or any other things. We kept just talking about where we wanted to get to as a team. And we had 2 great seniors who led us in an unbelievable way. We won that first game. One young man stepped up, had 36 points right off the bat. We had another young man on the next Saturday night playing a southeastern Oklahoma team. Beat them in overtime, and another freshman stepped up and had like 33 points. It's pretty amazing. We won, I believe it was 5 out of our next 6. Next thing you know, we're up to 9-6 in the conference. We're, I think, 2nd or 3rd place, 2 games out of first. We got 5 games to go. We lost those 5 games, our last 5, but we lost them by a total of 13 points. We lost one in double overtime. We lost another one on a tip-in at the buzzer. And against our lovely rivals, Arkansas Tech. They beat us twice last year on last-second shots at the buzzer. I mean, we had 1-point lead, and they'd tip something in, it would go in. Tough way to go, but great basketball games. We lost our last game of the year on the road at Southeastern Oklahoma. We missed a 3 at the buzzer to tie it. So we were right there in every one of those games. And I told our guys after that last game before we went to the conference tournament, which some people were surprised we even qualified, because a lot of people, I'm sure, were kind of sitting around waiting, okay, when's this going to kind of fall apart? But these young men never wavered from where they wanted to get to as a team. And we had a couple of great seniors, and I'll show you a picture of them here in a minute, that did an unbelievable job for us and made sure we didn't waver from where we wanted to get to as a team. We got to the conference tournament. That last game before we played it, I told them, I said, look, guys, we've played some really good basketball. It's not like we're getting beat because we're playing bad. It's not like we're getting beat because we're turning the ball over, those kind of things. We just haven't made a play maybe at the end of the game, or we've missed a couple of shots because we played really, really good basketball and fun to watch. And I get comments all year long from people just saying it's so inspiring to watch them. Because like I said, some of them never came out of a game. And it was just a lot of fun to watch, and a lot of fun to watch them play as a team. Maybe one of the most unselfish groups I've ever been a part of. We would have some possessions at times where we would make 11 passes, the ball would never hit the floor, and we'd shoot a layup, which you hardly ever see in today's game. And it was absolutely fun to watch and fun to be around. I'll tell you what else was fun. We were done with practice every day in 30 minutes. We were never on the floor more than 45 minutes of practice. And that was fun. This semester it just worked out so we could start at 2:30 every day. The girls couldn't couldn't get out of class in time, and all of our guys got out at like 1:50, so we could start every day at 2:30. Our guys are used to going for 2 hours every day. The girls used to going for 2 hours or so. And Coach Kirby would come up and say, hey, is it okay if we start at like 3:15 today? And I'm like, oh, yeah, we'll be done. We start at 2:30. We're done by 3:15. That meant the girls got to go all afternoon. And they loved that. I felt sorry for them, but there was nothing else I was going to do. I mean, we weren't going to be on the floor more than 30 or 45 minutes. That's all it takes to get 8 guys through a practice. You can get a lot done in about 45 minutes, and you could wear them out doing it. But we stayed in great shape. We stayed in great playing shape because those guys were playing all the time, and we just made sure every day they came to the gym they felt good about their shots because we did have some guys who could really, really shoot it. So we go in the conference tournament. And I told our guys after that, the last game, I said, it's not that we're playing bad basketball. We've just lost a few. Now let's go win this tournament because you can. Because I could tell they were a little down about how they finished the year. The only way we could get into the NCAA tournament now was to go win our conference tournament and get the automatic bid. So I just told them, let's go win that thing because you can. So we go to Bartlesville, Oklahoma with 8 guys. It was so funny. Every restaurant we would go into, every hotel we would call, hey, we're coming in to play, whatever team we're going to be spending out in a hotel. We need some rooms. They're used to booking, 10 rooms, 12 rooms for teams that come in there. I'd say, no, we need 4. We can get, Coach, you sure? Is that everybody? Yeah, 4 rooms, we're good. We'd go into restaurants to eat. No, we just need places for about 12 to sit. 8 players, 4 coaches, managers, we're good. We could expand our menu a little bit. We're used to going to McDonald's and Burger King and those kind of things because it costs so much money to feed 15 or 18 guys. Now we had 8. We could go to Olive Garden or, we could go to a Chili's every now and then because we only had 8. We didn't have to pay for, 15 guys to eat. So there were some advantages. There were some perks to only having that many. Traveling was easy. But we get the conference tournament. Every arena we went in to play, every single time, we'd run out to warm-ups, and people would either come up to me and ask before the game started, Coach, where is everybody? Or what happened? Or is that everybody? Is that your team? And we'd have Harding alum that would come, wherever we were playing, they'd come in and watch, and they'd find a way down to the bench before the game. Coach, is that all the team? Yep, that's it. Enjoy them. Enjoy watching. I got asked that at Arkansas Monticello, and Harding alum was there at that game, asked me about that. I said, yeah, and you're going to love watching them play. And we ended up winning in double overtime against a really, really good team where our point guard played 50 minutes. All 50 minutes of that game he played. We won in double overtime. Unbelievable. One of the best college basketball games I've ever been a part of. We get to the conference tournament. We draw a team the first round, East Central Oklahoma, who had beaten us twice during the year. Beat us really bad at our place, and then beat us in a close game at theirs. Really a tough matchup for us because they had some really big, strong, physical guys. But we ended up playing great. Our point guard, who was averaging about 8 points a game on his career, he was number 1 in the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio, but he only didn't shoot it very much, although he could shoot it. We would beg him sometimes to shoot it. Decides all of a sudden he's going to come out and shoot the basketball. First game of the conference tournament, I believe he ends up with 26 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, 1 turnover. Plays every minute of the game. We won by about 12. We had a day off that day. The next day on Saturday, we played Arkansas Tech University in the semifinals, who had beaten us twice on tip-ins at the buzzer or free throws at the buzzer. Our guys were pretty fired up about playing them. Again, here's another team who had beaten us twice on the year. We won that game by about 17. Really played well in the second half, got a big lead, shot the ball extremely well. It was pretty unbelievable, and got that one. And so the next day, we ended up the Great 8, as they became to be known at. If you keep up on Twitter and those kind of things, it was blowing up all over the place. Hashtag Great 8. That's what our team kind of became known as. The next day, on Sunday afternoon, we're playing Henderson State for the conference championship for a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. And not a lot can be said at that time of the year. You're just like, hey, guys, we're here. let's try to seize the opportunity. And they huddled up before the game, and I could hear our senior out there talking to them. And it was pretty amazing. I wish I could replay that for you. We go out that game. Our first 6 shots of the game that we made were threes. 18 points right off the bat. Henderson makes a run. It's a real close game at the half. We end up winning the game in double overtime. If we're going to go overtime, we got to go double overtime. So we end up winning the game in double overtime. Our point guard, Weston Jamison, played 130 minutes that weekend. That's every single minute of every game we played. 40 minutes in the first 2, 50 minutes in the last game. Everybody else that played a lot was over 40 minutes, 45, 44. The 5 guys that started didn't get a lot of rest. Blake McNair, who's from here, has 26 in the championship game. Our point guard was MVP of the tournament. We had 2 guys that were all tournament team, Blake and one of our seniors, Hayden Johnson. And if they ever wavered from where they wanted to get to as a team, we never witnessed it, and we never saw it. I just want to show you a couple of pictures. I put some of these pictures up here, and I hope it'll help you capture some of the emotion, some of the looks on their faces, and then we'll talk about a little bit more about this definition and how we really try to encourage them. I'll leave that one up there. What I really wish is if we could zoom in on the crowd on that one. Jeff Montgomery, our photographer, we're out there on the floor taking pictures, and he says, "Hey, Coach, let's go stand over there in front of the crowd." So we stood over in front of the crowd, and Jeff snapped this picture. And I really wish you could see the emotion in the faces of the people who were watching, and who were there, and who were wrapped up in it, and who were involved, and who were inspired by a group of 8 kids who never wavered from where they wanted to get to as a team. They never wavered from it. They never talked any other way about it. They never played any other way about it. They went out and played the game the way it's supposed to be played. They played really hard. They played great together, and they loved each other. And it was pretty awesome to sit back and watch them, because I felt like most nights I just simply had the best seat in the house. That there were most nights where I wasn't doing a lot of coaching. There wasn't much to be done. I mean, we only had 8 players. You can't adjust a lot. But they really threw themselves into this definition of the word mission. We've had some great teams. And we've been in the NCAA tournament 5 times. We've won conference 3 of the last 4 years. We've had some great teams. But I don't think we've ever had one that will be as dear to many people's hearts as this one. After every game, win or lose, I'd have comments from people about it's just so inspiring and so much fun to watch them play. Because you could tell there was no agenda. There was no personal agenda. They were totally wrapped up and caught up in what this team was trying to get to and what this team was all about. And they were totally wrapped up in that. I told you every year at the first of the year, we use this definition, and we talk to them a lot about this definition of mission and trying to get a place where they want to get to. One of the reasons why I love this definition so much is because you can apply it to every single aspect of your life. We talk to them about academics, and we say, can you picture yourself walking across the stage? And let's really picture that. Can you picture yourself walking across the stage and either Dr. Burks or Dr. McClarty handing you that diploma You're wearing that funny little square hat with tassels hanging off of it and that big long gown and whatever else, cords and ribbons and everything else you got. Can you really see that? And can you really, really picture yourself doing that? Because if you can, coach doesn't have to worry about you going to class every day. Because if you can picture that and see that, then it'll inspire you to act. You'll go to class every day. You'll get your stuff done. It'll fuel your motivation when times get tough and hard and class is getting tough and you want to quit. And it'll determine your behavior because you won't want to do anything to mess that up. It'll help you in the choices you make every day. So we talk about it from the academic standpoint. We talk about it with all kinds of goals in different parts of their life. What kind of family do they want to have? Can they picture that? Can they see that? You young guys sitting over here, where is it you want to get to? Is it in music? Is it in sports? Is it in school? Is it whatever it is? You can use this definition. That's why I love it so much. As a body, as a church, what's your mission? What are we all about? And do we totally buy into that, to where personal agendas get left aside, everything gets left aside because we're all about the mission of this body and this church? God promises if we do this that we're going to succeed. I tell our guys every year, there's no guarantee you're going to get to cut down nets at the end of the year. No guarantee. But we're going to picture it, and we're going to pursue it, and hopefully pursue it in the right way. Putting all of our selfish stuff behind us and pursuing where we want to get to as a team. The last part of this definition, or the last aspect of their life that we talk a lot about with them, is their spiritual life. Because to me, we have a beautiful example in Jesus Christ fleshing out this definition for us. We have a beautiful example of him doing that all through Scripture. He had a place he wanted to get to. He had an image that was set before him of a place that he wanted to get to. I know last week you had Dr. Manor, and man, what a tremendous treat he is. I'm not a preacher. I don't teach Bible, but I'm a coach, so I'll go coach on you here. But in my opinion, Jesus had a very clear picture of where he wanted to get to. And that was back, reunited with his Heavenly Father. And someday, all of us being there with him. And I believe that was the picture that was set before him, that in Hebrews chapter 12 says, helped him endure the cross for the joy set before him. You got to see some of the joy on those guys' faces. They don't much look like that in August and September when coach is killing them out at the track. But in pursuit of the joy set before them, they will endure it. And Hebrews tells us that for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. Beautiful picture of an image of a place that I think Jesus wanted to get to. Did it fuel his motivation? You bet. Think you ever wanted to quit? Think you ever got frustrated? You bet. Praying to God, any other way we can do this? Any other way we can do this. I played for a lot of coaches that a lot of times I'm looking at them going, any way we can do this without doing all this running? Without lifting all these weights? Without you killing me? Nope, sorry. Okay. Jesus, same boat. But because he could see where he wanted to get to and had that image and he could clearly see it, it fueled his motivation. It also shaped his behavior and determined his behavior. Just look at what all he did on this earth. It inspired him to act. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Emmanuel, God with us. It inspired him to act. It fueled his motivation. and it determined his behavior. And it shaped all the choices that he made while he was here to get to the place where he wanted to get to. I think that's one of my favorite parts when we get to that with our team, is just talking about this beautiful picture we have in Jesus Christ of fleshing out this idea of the word mission. Hope maybe something that's been said tonight will encourage you in whatever aspect. We're never too old to dream, never too old to set goals, never too old to get a place here where we want to get to. Maybe as a church, maybe as a church family, we can be reconnected on the real mission and the real place we want to get to as a body in our story, in our part of the kingdom. With all selfishness aside and all agendas aside and all that, and really buying into what team is all about. We don't put the name on the back of the jerseys, because the name on the front of the jersey is the only one that needs to be up there. They're lucky we put numbers on them. But I hope in some way, sometime tonight, you've been encouraged by this. You guys over there that are in the middle of dreaming your place that you want to get to, I hope you'll see it. I hope you will see it. I hope you can picture it very, very clearly where you want to get to. I know a long time ago I got in trouble for lining the carpet in our house. I don't recommend anybody do this, but I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I lined the green carpet we had in the house and moved all the couches to the side, and I moved all of them to the side, and that green carpet I striped with flour like a football field, because I just knew I was going to be the next Franco Harris. I was a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I was going to be Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Lynn Swan, whoever. I was in the living room. Mom and Dad were in another part of the house having company, letting this little youngest of 5 spoiled, rotten kid run around and not knowing what was going on. And I was diving over the couch into all the cushions, scoring touchdowns with flour all over the place. Loving every minute of it until the fly swatter came out. But I had a picture. I had a pretty vivid imagination of where I wanted to get to. I'll never forget one story that Mom used to tell on me here, growing up here in Harrison, playing baseball for Master Chef, and Bobby Lowe coaching us, Mike's dad, and boy, we had some great times. And we were coming home from one of those games, and I was real quiet. I think we just won, because I think we won the championship that year or something. But I was real quiet on the way home. Mama's got home, said, "What you thinking about?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to play football, basketball, or baseball at Harding." "Oh, okay. Well, let me know what you decide." But I just knew. I just had this picture, this place that I wanted to get to. I didn't get to do any of the 3 at Harding, but I ended up there and getting to coach there, because once I decided I wanted to coach, decided I wanted to be a college coach, and God's just made all those opportunities available and there, and opened up a lot of great doors. But I hope you guys can see where you want to get to. I really, really do. If it's in your families, I hope you can see where you want to get to as a family. If it's with this church and your role in this kingdom, I hope you can really clearly see the opportunities that God has for you and the place where you want to get to as a church family. If there's some need that you have tonight that one of the elders or somebody here can help you with, I think we've got a song, and if you want to come forward at that time, we'll do that now. Thank you.